Welcome to GTC's Teaching Tidbits Blackboard Ultra. In this limited series, each episode we will focus on a technique, tip, practice, or idea to expand your knowledge of and your comfort with using Blackboard Ultra. I'm joined today by Lee McMinn from the Curriculum and Instructional Support Center, CISC for short. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning, Rachel.
We're always glad to have you. You become a staple in these episodes, of course. And in the previous episode, Lee gave us a sneak peek, a little preview of the new updates that were coming in February 2023. And there were some really exciting updates. I think, Lee, you heard from several people who were excited about what was to come. So today's episode is going to dive deep into those February 2023 updates. So Lee, I'm going to turn it over to you to share your teaching tidbits.
All right, thank you, Rachel. Just going to share my screen one. And basically, so you can see, just a little PowerPoint introduction, just a recap of what things that we have coming. Extra credit questions, we've got them now. As of this past Friday, February whatever this past Friday was, 5th or 6th, we got these new features. And again, extra credit questions, exemptions. You can now exempt students from assignments and tests and those sort of things. Hotspot question improvements, polygon shapes. I'm going to show you what each one of these are. It will be very quick. Progress tracking. Progress tracking has always been there. What we have, this added feature, is the ally alternative count. What that means is if a student clicks the little ally button on the far right of an item to get a different version, like the red version or a Braille version or something like that, that now counts as the student seeing or participating in that item. So then they can move forward if you have sequencing turned on. And some other visibility features. Gradebook list view sorting. At the main level of the gradebook, you can sort now by just about every column. And then the last thing I'm going to quickly show you is course group memberships. Used to be that when you're in a group in a Blackboard course, you could not see who else was in the group with you in your group. Now you can. Again, you can only see the membership of the groups you're in, but at least you can see who your other members are. So we're going to take a quick look at that. So I'm logged in as an instructor in this course. First thing we're going to look at is the extra credit. So I'm going to go into one of the tests. This is the hotspot question. We'll come back to it in just a second. Notice question 2 here has this little emblem on it. That's the extra credit emblem. That's telling you that this question is set as an extra credit question. When you create a question, you have this new option at the top, and that is the extra credit checkbox. So if you check that off, whatever points you have in the point field will be how many extra credit points that question is worth. All right, so that's how you can basically add an extra credit question. This is a quiz that hasn't been taken yet. So again, I could add an extra credit question just by adding a question of any type. Doesn't really matter what. You would just check off the extra credit button. That's how many points it's worth. All right. So that's how you can do extra credits. While we're here, we're going to jump ahead to the hotspot question. Here is an example of a hotspot question. This is the polygon shape. Currently, before this past Friday, when you wanted to do a hotspot, you could only do it as a rectangle or as a square, which may include other things that you didn't want it to include. So now I will erase the hotspots. Yes, delete all the hotspots. Not necessarily the question, but we'll bring the image back in. So you load your image, you could drag or drop, or I just select it. Notice here the add a hotspot, you have the rectangle capability still, or you can do a polygon. All right, remember with the rectangle, it's just this big rectangle and it includes everything around it. All right, but with the polygon, now I can draw. See the pen? So if I'm asking which is the scalene triangle, that's this one right here. You click to start, and you click at every point you want to make a turn or make an adjustment. And you can make as many of these as you like. So now this is the hotspot. And you can give a description if you'd like. No one sees this. This is what you see as the instructor when you're grading it. And then you save it, and there it is. What I wanted to show you about this is just how fine it can be. Let me go back in and I'll just add the question here. It really gets quite detailed. So in other words, like the other example, notice how fine these bone shapes are. I can work myself all the way around. So if you wanted them to label a particular bone, you can work yourself around that bone pretty easily just by clicking as you go as each curve and turn. And I'm clicking a lot because there's lots of turns here. And then there you go. So I'm pretty exact with this hotspot. So that's a great new feature that we have. All right, exemptions. To give an exemption, you would go to the gradebook. I'm going to look at the list view. I'm going to go to this quiz, and my student, Alice Wonderland here, needs to be exempted from the test. She already tried it, but you can see she didn't do very well. So to give an exemption, all you do is click on the 3 horizontal dots, and notice now we have exceptions and we have exemptions. So you click add an exemption. All you have to do is it's going to show you the student you did this for, check it off, click save, and now it says exempt. It still shows you the student score. The score will still show to the student, but it has the exempt here and it's grayed out. So you can see that this is exempt. This score will no longer count for this student in this particular exam. It'll be left out. So that's a great thing with the exemptions. The visibility of sorting is here at the main gradebook level. Notice now that every column has the sorting arrows at the top. Again, this is only at the main level. So this is kind of like even improves the needs grading sort of aspect. You can sort by grading status, and I can see all the things that need to be graded. All right. Or I could sort it the other way. Same thing for post. Do things need to be posted or not? Notice everything's posted in my course. And again, you can sort by due date if you'd like. All right. So this is very helpful. Now, when you go into the next level of a particular item, those sorting features aren't there. You can do that with your status filters and those sort of things. But this sorting is coming in the very near future. And then finally, the group listing. Here I am logged in as Alice Wonderland. If I go into a course that I'm in a group, I can, over on the left side, I can look at the groups that I'm in. I can expand that group, and I can now see the members that are in this group with me. All right. So that's what the group membership does. And then last, updates that are coming in March. These are just a few of them. Improved attempt switching. I know everyone's going to love this. Remember, if someone has multiple attempts on an item, right now, when you go in to grade it, you only see that one attempt. If Alice, let's say Alice had 3 attempts, I go in on that first one. Even if I'm navigating through, it's only going to show me that first attempt. To see the other 2, I would have to go back and click on Alice or click on the student's name and then choose which attempt I wanted to look at. And that's very time consuming. What's coming is when you go in to grade the attempts at the top left, it'll show the attempt that you're looking at. Now it's going to have a drop down arrow by it. So when you click on that, it's going to show all the attempts for that student, and you can choose which attempt you want to grade. So you'll very easily be able to move from one attempt to another without having to go backwards and filter through all that stuff. So this is a great time saver as well. Overall grade sorting controls, same thing. When you go into the overall grade, you'll then be able to sort by the overall grade. So you can put highest to lowest, lowest to highest. It'll group, of course, numerically, or however, if you're showing the letter grade, it'll group alphabetically. So you can have all the A's grouped together, all the B's and so forth. So that's going to be very helpful. Rescheduling announcements. A lot of people notice that once the student comes in and they have seen the pop-up for that announcement, it doesn't pop up anymore. All right. Well, if you want to emphasize it and make it pop up again, what you'll be able to do is open that announcement and you can reschedule it. So now it'll be like it's new and it'll pop up again for the users as they come into the course. So that's going to be very helpful. And then one of the other big things is the discussions. You'll be able to deactivate can't say it. You'll be able to deactivate post activity. That means you'll have a checkbox over on the settings side, and when you check that box, it'll say no more post. Users cannot edit or delete posts. All right. Right now, that only takes effect after the due date. If you set the due date, you can say no more modifications after the due date. With this option, from the very beginning, you can check this option off, and students, once they've posted it, they will not be able to go back in and edit or delete a post even before the due date. So that can be very helpful in certain areas. So that's what we have for the updates in February and what's coming in March.
Wow, thank you so much, Lee. Those are exciting updates. That extra credit question, how easy is that? And then I've noticed the last few months of updates, they have really been focused on the testing aspect. And it seems like we have even some more features in testing in Ultra than we had in original. It feels like now. But so many of those features, which is really nice for creating those tests, and that hotspot question, that's just really cool to watch.
Right.
And I imagine that your anatomy and some of your other courses that would utilize that are going to be thrilled that they have that opportunity now. And you've generated some excitement and buzz for what's coming in March, some real exciting things there coming in March. I'm excited about some of those things as well. So thank you for sharing all of those with us today. I know some people are going to be very, very excited once they see all of these things laid out in detail, and those exemptions. I was going to say those exemptions, having that capability back is really handy now.
Right. And the good thing about that too is it can be used on top of the automated zeros. So, if you have the automated zeros turned on, but then you decide that student had a legitimate reason or whatnot, you just want to remove the zero for that one student, you really can't do that with automated zeros turned on.
Right.
So now with the exemption, you can go in and just exempt that one grade, and you don't have to worry about fighting with the automatic zeros if you want to leave that turned on.
Yes, I've had a few fights with the automatic zero. So that exemption makes it, makes it so much easier. I like the way you phrase that, because that is true. The automatic zeros, and I have had a few fights over some assignments before.
You're not the only one. Lots of folks have been fighting with that too, especially if they want to remove it just for one student.
Right, right. Wow. Now we have the exemption, so that will make those fights less painful and maybe hopefully non-existent now.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, if you want to continue the conversation with Lee, you are welcome to. Lee's email is here on the screen, lee.mcminn@gbltech.com. tec.edu. Also, other members of CISC are available to help you as well and are well versed. So you can also email cisc@my.gvltec.edu. And one of the members of the team there will reach out, connect with you, and help you with those questions or concerns. Well, that's this month's GTC Teaching Tidbits Blackboard Ultra, and we will see you again in March.